Hi, everybody. It is Tuesday night here in Orlando, and I'm going to talk a lot about real estate, theme parks, and life in Orlando. I hope you're doing amazing, whether you're watching live or wherever you're at in the world today. I so appreciate you hanging out, spending some time talking about what I love to talk about, which is just life here in Orlando. First thing, as we always do, make sure you drop down below. Where are you guys watching from? We already have people checking in from Lakeland. Let's see, checking in from Lakeland. We've got people checking in from Jacksonville. We've got people checking in from Space Coast, but working in Chico, California. People watching from Miami. So it's good to see you guys. Jennifer watching from Austin. I so appreciate you guys hanging out today. I've got a packed class for you today, a packed live stream. We're going to talk a lot about new developments. I've spent a lot of time digging into news stories into the local area and hopefully compound something a little bit tighter for you to get an idea of what's going on here in Orlando. It's a cool time. We're getting into the holiday season. I think holiday season kind of starts at Halloween, and then you get it to Thanksgiving, and then Christmas time, and then New Year's. So it's a packed time here in Orlando, which I love. Always something cool to do, always something new. So let's check it out a couple more times where people are checking in from. Samish, Washington, good to see you. Great Smoky Mountains. Oh, I got to get to the Smoky Mountains someday. It sounds amazing. Truro, UK, off to Disney. I hope everybody's doing well over in the UK. I know a lot of people mourning the Queen over the next few weeks. Hello, Kevin from Lowry, South Lake, Texas. Good to see you. And what's up down the street in Waterloo? Good to see you. All right, so let's get into a few different things as we kick off. First thing I want to actually do, I don't think I've ever done this before, but I thought I would do this early in the show. But I want to actually make a quick apology for one of my most recent videos. If I'm doing something that's opinionated, I'm not going to ever apologize for that because it's my opinion. I have my opinion. You have yours, and we're all entitled to one. But if I start saying things are facts, I want to make sure that those things are as factual as possible. And I do spend hours and hours researching my videos, making sure they're as factual as possible so that you can take those things to the bank. I did a video about, this past week, and it was about sort of like the overall state of the market. And I had kind of misspoke saying that, hey, property prices for mortgages have gone up basically $200 is what I said, when the actual number, when you look at the math on the screen that I had put there, was something like $350. And it's probably the first time in the 4 years I've been doing this that people went crazy in the comment section saying like, oh, you misspoke and you're trying to mislead people. I wasn't trying to mislead people. If you look at the entire video, you can kind of see that I was just trying to march through some facts so that you can make your own decision at the end of the video, which was really my goal, talking about pricing and just where we're at in the market. And then if you decide to buy or if you decide to sell, you have some facts to go off of. So anyways, never trying to mislead somebody. And I appreciate your followership. I appreciate you guys tuning in. It means a ton for me. And we'll do our absolute best to bring in the factual data. So let's get into some things. One of the things I thought was interesting when I talk about factual data was really, what's going on with gas prices as it relates to real estate prices and everything else. Because that was really the point that I made first off in that video was like, hey, listen, interest rates have gone from 4%, now they're 5.5%, going to 6%, right? Kind of thing. Average pricing really overall for everything is getting to be more expensive. One of those things was gas. And I was kind of looking at Florida over the past year. Average gas prices were $2.99 a year ago. This is according to AAA. Current average is $3.43. So again, up, I don't know, 15% or so, back to the napkin math. And so I was looking at similarly, mortgage prices are up roughly 15%. And so we're all feeling the squeeze at all different prices. And that's kind of why we are where we're at as an entire economy. Real estate, mortgages, gas, food, everywhere you go, things are just a little bit more expensive. And so that was really the point I was trying to drive home. Anyways, hope you're doing well on this amazing Tuesday. You're doing really, really well. Ottawa, Canada. We're getting a lot of people. For one, I love Henrik. That's a cool name. A lot of people from Canada moving down, or at least buying a second house here, which is cool. I feel like every time you post a video, my property value goes up. I hope so, man. I hope so. What's going on, kid from Connecticut? A lot of people hanging out here. King Charles says hello to the says hi to the Colonials. Oh, that's funny. All right, there's a big story coming out of Anaheim or of LA here. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Mice Chat, I think, did probably the best breakdown of what specifically D23 and how it affects people in Orlando. specifically Walt Disney World. And I think they did a really great job. So I'm just going to break down what's changing here in Disney for all of you Disney people before we get into some development talk here. And so first up from Walt Disney, I'm excited. I don't know about you. Let me know down in the comments below. Happily Ever After is going to be back. So Enchantment is going away, which is okay. The more recent one where they actually added Walt, I'm a fan of. I think it's okay. Happily Ever After, loved it. Wishes, they should have kept going. Just like, it was Enchanted. They went all the way back to Happily Ever After. They should just kept going back to Wishes, and I would have been even more excited. But I digress. So Happily Ever After is coming back. Stoked about that. Hatbox Ghost for Florida. So if you don't know, over in Disneyland, you've got the Hatbox. Let's see. Oops. And that's coming over to Walt Disney World. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which I actually think looks really great. I'm a big fan of Splash Mountain in general. I haven't only probably rode it 2 or 3 times, but I rode it once. We did a VIP tour last week or 2 weeks ago, and we rode it. I have such an appreciation for that ride, from like the old school animatronics to just like how long the ride actually is. It's good. It's really well done, but they're getting ready to obviously retheme it over here with Tiana's Bayou. I was actually looking through some of the construction documents. They've got it kicked off already in pre-design, and they're talking about late 2024 is when the build out will be officially finished. So that lines up with what they said over at D23. But some of the renderings and the art, I think, looks pretty good. I'm actually really excited. Some of the stuff was really kind of cool. This looks very Disney Spring-esque. So let me know what you think. What's up, Clark Norton? Good to see you, my friend. Wish you were here as well. What's up, Steven from Southfield, Michigan? Chad from Lake Nona, right down the street. Good to see you. I hope they keep the Main Street projection. I agree, Jennifer. I think that is a really great add-on. Just in general, like all of the projections look fantastic. I think an updated Happily Ever After would be very cool. This projection of the night shot here of Tiana's Bayou, really, really cool. Tron, they finally have an opening date. It looks like it's going to be spring of 2023. Someone told me the other day that actually they were doing some executive walkthroughs of Tron, which means that things are definitely moving along. They're obviously doing a lot of test rides right now. So spring 23. I was kind of surprised, honestly, if they're doing executive walkthroughs now. I would have thought that they would be starting to do the opening maybe later this year, but maybe they just want to get through the holidays before they kick it off. We'll see. Peter says, what's up? Finally made it live. Enjoying your stuff from Melbourne, Australia. What's going on? So Disney's going to start doing cruises over there, which I feel like I need to check out Australia. Seems like somewhere I would want to hang out. It looks beautiful. We'll have many questions for you in the next few months. Take care. I appreciate it, Peter, very much so. Ryan says, bring back Wishes. I'm telling you, Wishes is where it's at. All right. So what else we got from D23 real quick, and we'll wrap up over there. Epcot, by the end of the year, Figment will be doing meet and greets. I have to go back into the Figment lore because people tell me that they love Figment. I've just never been able to get into it personally. Harmonious is going to go away, and they're going to be redoing it for World Celebration sometime in late 23. A lot of cool stuff. So I'm excited. I think that between this and they're going to be adding on Moana, and they're going to be expanding. They've kind of hinted on the idea of expanding Walt Disney World or Magic Kingdom in general, adding stuff behind Big Thunder Mountain. There's a lot of other stuff going on. And so to me, I'm excited. Why? Because I think Disney's finally starting to react to Epic Universe and everything that's coming along over there, because they need to. They need to get going as quick as possible on what's going on with Universal. Universal is doing, I think, an amazing job. I've got some really good friends of mine that are podcasters, and they do like more Disney theme park travel kind of stuff. And they're like, Universal is coming and calling us left and right about, hey, we want to get our content out there more. We want to build bigger community. We want to do more. And I feel like, Disney can do more of that. And so the fact that they're investing in their local stuff, I am excited. So speaking of Universal, I did Halloween Horror Nights for the first time this week. If you've not been, talk about theming. They did an amazing job over there. We did all 10 houses. We did buy the Express Pass. So we paid the $200 a person for the ticket plus the Express Pass. I think it's worth it because we got through all 10 houses, plus the scare zones, plus all the 2 shows and all that kind of stuff. We got a lot done in like 6 hours. I think it's well worth it. But one thing that was missing for me was like the Death Eaters and that sort of thing over in the Harry Potter area. And so this I saw come out, Dark Arts at Hogwarts Castle, returning to Hollywood Universal, Orlando rather. At the Darkness Falls, Death Eaters, devoted followers of Voldemort in the Harry Potter books, will take the streaks and lurk throughout the section of the park. Dark Arts at Hogwarts Castle is a projection mapping special effects light show on the castle. I'm just super stoked. So this is going to be select nights, September 16th through October 31st, from dusk until park closes. So let me know. What do you guys think? Are you guys feeling the Disney love? Are you feeling the Universal love? Are you kind of like 50-50? Just sort of depends on where you're at. Let me know what you think. I heard a tease, maybe Villains theme park down the road. Your thoughts? I heard this as well. And I know Josh mentioned that at his speech. So that would be awesome. Like, even if it was just another land at Magic Kingdom, that would be, to me, that would be super cool. All right. So make sure you're dropping questions down below. I'm going to talk about some of the news along here and then answer your questions along the way. So if you have questions about real estate, life in Orlando, what that's like, make sure you drop them down below. One of the first questions I saw is, I'm from Canada, resale versus pre-construction. Which one is a better investment at the moment? I think that, it depends on your horizon. I think that new construction, there's more and more developments coming on board. Finally, they were way behind where they needed to be, and they finally caught up. And so now these builders are like, hey, now we have a little bit more inventory than we've had. And so they're offering sometimes better incentives, better things on lot premiums, better just in general opportunities. That said, you never know what happens in the future. And so if you want something a little bit more solid in terms of just knowing what your price is going to be, your interest rate is going to be, all that stuff, not waiting 12 months into the future, then you buy now and you lock in with something that you are sure of. And I think that that's the only way to have some certainty. If you like to roll the dice a little bit, you do new construction. That way you have, a warranty. You really don't have to touch the thing for 10 years, hopefully, with the roof and the AC and all that kind of stuff, other than just regular maintenance. So it just depends. Depends what you're looking to do. Disney's going to open up Tron ride now. We'll see. I loved Hollywood Horror Nights. I thought it was really cool. My wife, not as big of a fan, but yes. Zillow Death Eaters keep reducing my homes. That's true. That's true. Feeling the Disneyland love. Yes, exactly, Susanna. Good to see you, by the way. Kevin says that builders survey data showed new home sales in Orlando dropped 40% year over year in August. New net home prices dropped in July, but still plus 12% plus. Do I think builders will continue to drop prices? I don't think builders touch base prices of homes. They might continue to offer incentives in order to offset some of the cost. And so that was, somebody messaged me over on Instagram today and they said, hey, Ken, what's the average discount I can get on new construction? And it's so all over the place. Some people will say, hey, we'll give you a little bit of closing cost incentives. Here's a really good one that I saw today. And there's a lot of builders doing this, I think it's a smart move by them. This is Ashton Woods. Get a 30-year fixed rate at 3.99 during your first year of ownership. And then you got to read the fine print, right? So with a 30-year fixed rate featuring a 4.99 APR, 6.66 through the first 2 years of your loan, right? So this is called a 2-1 arm, where you have a really great rate your first year. It goes up the second year and then goes up again the third year. That's something you got to really pay attention to. Read those fine details as you're going along, because I would rather get like a 10-1 arm where it locks you in for 10 years, because you have so much that could happen in 10 years where you could refinance and drop that rate to a fixed 30-year. But the 2-1 arm, that scares me a little bit, just because there's too much stuff that can happen. For any of you that have been around or remember what happened in 2005 to 2009, this is the stuff that got kind of people in a jam, right? And so if you can afford it at 6% and you close at 3.99, great, that's fine. You close. But it's the people that can't afford it when it starts to march up that becomes the problem. That being said, it is interesting to see how many builders are getting aggressive like this, offering to buy rates down, offering to design incentives and all those kind of things. I think it's a wise move on their part. Let's talk about a couple other things, and I'm going to get back to your questions here. So Orlando offers initial okay on $1.5 billion budget. What does this mean? This is actually the city of Orlando, right? So you still have county tax, and Orlando's massive, but this is the actual city of Orlando. And why I think this is important is because They basically are okaying it to where they're not going to raise taxes at all. It's going to keep the proposed mills at 6.65%, meaning that property owners are going to pay $6 for every $1,000 in taxable value and net the city about $300 million. And they're also investing back into some security measures and increased staff along the way. So I think this is good. I think this is overall, they see how much growth has happened in Orlando. And so instead of having to pay more in taxes to keep up, they're allowing the growth kind of to pay for some more of the staffing, which is kind of how it should be. I think this is good with the inflation the way that it is, which is kind of insane. The fact that they haven't had to raise taxes, and obviously they would have to, have some of the budgetary things get voted on. But I think this is a really good thing and a fiscally responsible thing for the city. So let's kind of go through. Bill asks, Ken, are my seeing new builds meeting appraisal? Yeah, this is a great question, Bill. So I think that most appraisals are looking at comparables that are 6 to 12 months old. And so unless the market drops really hard, appraisals on new builds are very rare to come in low, unless you went crazy at the design center. If your house is 500,000 and you spent 200,000 at the design center, you might run into an issue. Assuming that not everybody else in the neighborhood spending that much money. And so that's where like my team and I, we get involved pretty deep in those situations and ask the on-site sales staff like, hey, so if we put in a pool and we do all these upgrades and all this other stuff, have you had anybody else in the neighborhood that's going to be closing before us put that many incentives and that many upgrades into their house? And if so, then you're good, because you shouldn't have an appraisal issue, because the appraiser is going to be looking at those people. If you're way over improving, then you might have an issue. But for the most part, we're not seeing issues. Yeah, Abe, this is correct. This is correct. Clark, how am I feeling about prices overall, fourth quarter 22 versus 23? Here's my prediction. This is my hot take based on the data that I see. I think that we're probably going to pull back 2 or 3% by the end of the year. And then next year, as in Q1, with the Fed talking about eventually they will raise rates and then drop rates back into the 4s. If that happens, once we're back into the 4s, I think the market takes off again. I think we have a really strong 2023. So that being said, we're still seeing a ton of people buy now, and then with the plan in place to refinance next year. And so that would be my thing, is if you're motivated to buy, you want to take advantage of this market right now where you're actually able to get some deals, lock into a price that is negotiable, right? Instead of what we had 6 months ago, which was really not negotiable. You had to pay whatever the seller was asking over the appraisal, crazy stuff that people were doing. It's sort of like, which one do you want? Do you want to have a little bit of flexibility, or do you want, not flexibility, but a lower price? I don't know. It's really depends on your situation and what your motivation is. But to me, I think Ken's crystal ball, we pull back a little bit based on a slowdown, not a bubble pop, but a slowdown. And then next year we continue to go back up as rates kind of come back down, along with everything else. We shall see. What's going on from Naperville? I love Naperville. If you remember Regis Philbin, I saw Regis Philbin at a library there doing a book signing. My wife and I, we drove all the way to Chicago when we lived in Detroit just to meet Regis. So Naperville's got a little spot in my heart. What's going on, buddy? Am I going to be at the 30 under 30 reunion tomorrow? Dude, I completely forgot about it, to be quite honest with you. I saw a bunch of you guys come into town and I was like, I should check my calendar, and then totally forgot. So my Realtor Magazine 30 under 30 friends. Hi from Ireland. Just made contact with Lindsay on your team. She's amazing, super astute and attentive, that Lindsay. What's my opinion on Lake Mary versus Winter Garden? Property value around 700. Okay, so great question. Lake Mary is an established kind of finished area. I love Lake Mary. There's beautiful neighborhoods, beautiful trees, older areas, newer areas. It's just a little far if you're like coming here for the resort Disney area. If you are working downtown Orlando and you're looking for an affordable option with good schools and good options for housing, Lake Mary is awesome. If you're looking for, again, like more of the amenities of the resorts, Winter Garden's probably for you. And so that would be my official take. Ooh, Sharon, you asked the question of the night. because I've I've been looking for what's going on. So we have, let me share this real quick. Yeah, there we go. Finally. All right, so this is North Lake, townhomes and single families by Ashton Woods in Horizon West. And this is actually where it's going to go. They've got kind of a weird overlay on the map here. Hopefully you can see what this looks like. But I drove by and the sign's up. They're moving like the roads and all that good stuff now, which I think is great. But if you see here kind of the first phase, you're going to have some lakefront property on Lake Star. You've got a lot of conservation in here. It's going to be that traditional Horizon West neighborhood with townhomes, rear entry, and front loading and estate homes all in the same neighborhood. And you've got a lot of stuff coming along here. You've got Fleming's Road kind of dead ends back into the neighborhood. You've got MI homes on both sides of the road all the way down. You've got Winding Bay with, it's not KHOV anymore. Susanna, let me know. I forget. KHOV. Who's building right here on LeBeau? Rockwell Homes is who's doing there. Anyways, this is coming on board. They don't have pricing. They don't have really anything here. Home plans. They do have a few for their townhomes, but nothing for single family yet. And so I'm excited because I live in an Ashton Woods house. I think they build a good home. And this area in Horizon West, I think, is like obviously the last frontier up and down Avalon. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool things happening up and down Avalon right now. KHOV is getting ready to start selling. WestHaven by Toll Brothers already selling. You've got there's another new one I just saw pop up. Dreamfinders. Let's see. Dreamfind Serenade at Ovation by Dreamfinders is coming on board. So just a ton of new neighborhoods coming online up and down, finally doing sales, starting most of them, it seems, in November of this year. And so if you're interested in that, if you're thinking about Horizon West as home and you want new construction and you want probably one of 8 different neighborhoods that we can help you with, make sure you reach out. Happy to help. Ryan asks, do I see the housing bubble popping soon? I don't. And here's simply why. The job numbers are just too good. And so as long as job numbers are good and we don't see like massive layoffs and really, really high unemployment, when that happens, along with inflation, along with all these other things, then I think that then we start needing to worry a little bit. Until that happens, I don't see a real estate bubble popping. California Dream is checking in from work at Epcot. I've got a friend of mine that works at Epcot, not for Disney. He just goes there to work at Connections, grabs his laptop, loves it. Anyways, hope you're doing well. Jennifer says, my opinion, what's the best home builder in Orlando? If you're talking about the production side, I think that would be Toll Brothers. I think Ashton Woods is pretty close behind that. Rockwell builds a good house as well. J&J, they're a really good builder. If you're looking on the semi-custom, custom side, lots of great options. But obviously prices get a little out of control. Johnny says, what are my mortgage prediction rates? Again, I think we're probably going to see another tick up, right at that 6 mark, if not even a little over 6. And then I think that based on every big mortgage person that I'm talking to, they're talking about rates should fall back into the 4s mid 2023. Hopefully election season's over, posturing is a little bit over, and inflation gets under control, and then we'll see what happens. Ooh, this is a good question. Kestra Zen off of 535. This is like a deep cut for those of you that don't know this area, but let me show you. So if you guys don't know where the Evermore area is, I'm going to show you Orlando Evermore Resort. Go ahead and share it over here, and voila, make it even bigger. All right, so this is what's going on 535. You've got, it doesn't exist on the map here, but Zen Apartments is right here. This is what you're talking about. And let me zoom out even more so people that just don't know the area super well. You've got Bay Lake over here, Lake Buena Vista. This is all Disney. And then you've got like Golden Oak is over here. And so if you zoom in, there's a $1 billion development, beautiful, beautiful development going in all right here. All of this land is going to be kind of taken up by this massive like crystal lagoon and just gorgeousness. And so they're ripping up this golf course right now and then all the way back through here for some more infrastructure and just kind of getting ready for what's going on in Evermore. So that's what I've seen, is that they're just basically tearing up everything up and down and around the Zen apartments to make it. They're crazy a bit expensive at this point, those Zen apartments, by the way. Like a 2-bedroom is $3,000 a month. And that was one of the things that I talked about in my video as well this past week, was that like we listed one of our duplexes for rent. We had 62 applications in 2 weeks. Rents here continue to climb. And so that's another thing to at least think about when you're looking at, do I buy versus rent? Again, it's totally your call based on where you're at. But anyhow, thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate it very, very much. CPI data today showed that inflation isn't going down, leading to higher rates going forward. We could see lot premiums decreasing on new construction. Yeah, I mean, CPI data came out today. The stock market did not do well today. Inflation is still out of control, which is why we need to get spending under control, which is why we need to just, stop spending so much money. And yet here we are. What are my thoughts on St. Cloud property values? Will they go up by next year? It depends on the area. I think that, man, why does your face look so familiar? Let me know how we know each other, because you look like I've met you in person before. St. Cloud area, it depends on the area. So like there's some rural areas of St. Cloud that I think are susceptible for a market pullback because their desirability just isn't where like a Sunbridge is. Like the Sunbridge area has a lot of massive opportunity, I think, still going forward. Now, will prices pull back? I'm not saying that they're not ever will pull back. I've said that now twice on today's show, even that I think that they may pull back, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't move forward one way or the other whenever the time works for you. Whether that's 3 years from now, 6 months from now, today, it doesn't matter for me. I'm just more or less giving you some different insights on what's going on. Let's talk a bit about a couple more stories that I thought were kind of cool going around Orlando. Global brand Nobu, which is tied to oh gosh, what's my man's name? Robert Dinero. This is cool. A global hotel and restaurant chain founded by actor Robert Dinero and a world-renowned Japanese chef is set to enter the Orlando market. Why is this important? I think it's very cool because they're actually going to add in 50 residences as well. There's going to be 300 keys 300 rooms, including 8 villas and 50 stylish residences. And this is actually going to go in, if you look here, right across from Disney Springs, right across I-4 from Disney Springs. And why is that important? Because the things like Nobu restaurant, the Nobu residences, the Nobu hotel and villas, they're very expensive. And Orlando has never been known for like getting crazy expensive, like this kind of stuff. But now you've got the Four Seasons section at Golden Oak. You've got the Ritz-Carlton residences over by the Ritz. You've got the JW Marriott downtown Orlando that's getting ready to go up, the high rise there. And then you've got the Nobu apartments. And so I think this is really kind of cool. It sort of shifts sort of the focus of like Orlando just being that brown box touristy area into some like higher end brands. And I think that elevates a lot of things. For me, we're a tourist area. We've got a lot of people that work in hospitality, and the more like higher end kind of things, the more wages can kind of go up. And I just think that it does really well for everybody. Homeowners here, good for your values, all that good stuff. So anyways. What's going on, man? Hey, Ken, this is another Ken from Michigan living in Royal Cypress. I have so many clients living in there. We could talk offline because I don't want to put their names on a live stream. But what's going on? So yeah, Evermore is obviously, as you can see when you drive out your front there, it's getting built out like crazy. They're reworking a bunch of the infrastructure over there to follow up. Yeah, I think it's going to be really nice, man. I honestly think for those of you living in Royal Cypress over there by Zen Apartments and all that good stuff, that's actually going to be, once the light goes in, a really positive thing for you guys, because you're going to have restaurants and like all that kind of stuff. And I hope that if they have this second entrance, that it doesn't bring too much traffic by your house. That would be maybe my only concern, but I think net, it's going to be a positive for you. I know I missed a bunch of questions. Frank asks, how's Claremont looking in your experience as far as community growth and roads? So I think that community growth for Claremont is through the roof. There's so many new neighborhoods, everything from the new sports complex going in there, and literally 25 to 30 new neighborhoods. But then you've got a lot of these roads that are going in that's going to connect Claremont to Horizon West and tie into the rest of Orlando to make it easily more accessible. I was just there with some clients over the weekend, and yeah, I'm kind of bullish on the Claremont area for what it's going to be. Right now, it's a little bit tougher to get to places and the infrastructure hasn't fully caught up yet, but that's the opportunity, right? That's where you get in for a little bit better of a deal. And then you wait a couple years until all those creature comforts catch up, which is what we did in Horizon West. Like we moved here before everything else was here. And then now we're finally able to reap the benefits. This is a good question. So, any insight in the Castleberry area? I bought a few years ago and want to know if that future development that will increase value of the area. So, I haven't seen a massive like uptick in new development because Castleberry is obviously already built out. But because of where it's situated, I think for investors, if you're looking for like a longer hold, Castleberry and some of these like there's plenty of like older areas of Orlando that are eventually going to be flipped and turned over. And so, I think Castleberry, Eatonville. There's a bunch of them, Winter Springs even, which is Winter Springs is already super nice. A lot of those areas up in that northeast section that are going to be getting more and more love as people just don't want to drive farther out, right? Like downtown Orlando over the past 5 years has seen a really great resurgence of people moving to the downtown area, like College Park, Thornton Park, Delaney Park, Soto, like all of these areas are getting a lot of like revitalization because people are like, screw this. Why am I driving an hour and a half to get to work or an hour to get to work? Let me just move here, renovate, and make it nicer. And so I think Castleview or Castleberry has an option for that as well. Lawrence, I'm here for the D23 bond pouch. Yeah, he did get booed again. This is very true. Yeah, I think we're gonna be. Let's see. Chevy's prize. Yep. Oh, this is good here. This is one I missed. So, mom contracted for a home in West Haven on October 21. Second wave sales. Communication from Toll Brothers has been intermittent. Do I think they're really going to start building after the new year? Or will January turn into March? No, I really do think this actually, and I don't have any clients personally building. I know some of my team members have people building with West Haven, but I do believe, based on talking to their sales department and the construction department, I do believe that most of those neighborhoods up and down will be moving forward, and they are. Like you look at the construction actually starting to take place over in Del Webb Oasis is like massively moving forward very quickly there. So yeah, I do think that January they'll start, but you're probably not going to be moving in until November, December, if not early 24, because Toll Brothers typically they're just one of the longer production builders because they do have a so-so process. I had a good troll comment, and I mean, maybe troll, there's somebody trying to call me out, and I'm totally here for it. Here we go. Ranger the dog, real name. Earlier this year, you said you lost respect for Reventure Consulting for predicting a downturn in the real estate market. Now it looks like he's going to be right. Any plans to apologize for Reventure Consulting? Well, here's the thing. He actually called it last year, and prices went up another 15%, and now they're starting to pull back. If you just say bad things long enough, eventually you're going to be right. The same conversely, you say good things and eventually you're going to be right. You're going to get caught in the middle one way or the other. I think that anybody who makes a living off of clickbait and says that they basically, they're going to try to sell you a product based on their clickbait, it is what it is. Like he's selling a downturn and then selling to people on how to invest in real estate on the side. That's like his gig. And I'm not going to fault him for it. I just think he was wrong. Last year, he said prices were going to go down. They went up another 15%. So I don't know. That's all I got. Jacqueline V, watching you from Palm City. Do I think Disney will build StoryLiving community in Orlando like Cotino? All right. So here's the deal. I'm seeing this has not been approved and or said by anybody at Disney, but there was some stuff that I was talking about or talking through in the projects department over at Disney. Hold on. All right, so this is an interesting one, and this is, again, this has nothing to do with Disney. This was really just me looking through the permitting department to see what may or may not have come up. And so there's an age-restricted community at Sunbridge down in Orlando. They're doing some spec outs, 10 million to 15 million. This very well could be a Disney kind of thing. Now, Sunbridge has Del Webb Oasis, but if you look at who some of the owners potentially would be, it does say Walt Disney. So now I know for a fact that they had some things that they were in early talks, and maybe they're just left on some old permitting, but maybe they are. And so to me, like the Cotino deal, a lot of that's going to be age restricted community. So we'll see. I'm actually working on trying to get more information myself by going through Freedom of Information and going down to the county level and city level to see what might be happening. So as soon as I can 100% confirm, I will definitely let you know. I'm hoping to break the story. So that's why I'm pushing hard to figure out what's going on over there. So anyways, that's it for tonight. I'm going to go eat some dinner. I apologize. I forget my boy, but I did not get a coffee today. It was water because it's late. And listen, for the bottom of my heart, for those of you watching today or watching on the replay, it means the world that you tune in. We're always going to try to bring you the up-to-date information about Orlando, give you some opinion, give you some insight that maybe you didn't have otherwise. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button, if you don't mind, on the way out. Helps me reach a wider audience. And I think that's it for tonight. Hope you have an amazing rest of the week. We'll see you guys next week.